Joining us, a very special guest in Mark SEAGRAVES, a former English professional footballer who's played for big clubs like Liverpool as well as Manchester City. Mark, let's build up this big final with you. Remember, Mark is also the analyst on Sony Sports Network, the home of Euro 2024. First up, if I asked you maybe a couple of weeks ago at the start of Euro 2024 to pick your two finalists, would you have picked Spain and England?
I would definitely have picked England because they're ranked #1 in UEFA European international football. I wouldn't have picked Spain. It'd probably be in France or, maybe even Germany as an outsider. But definitely England. But Spain have obviously been the best team up to now. They've been most goals I think they've scored. They look like the most attractive against an England side that has underwhelmed, but they've got there. And you can't give anything but praise to both Southgate and the England team, in spite of the barrage of negative comments coming from both the English press and I think everybody else in the world has had their say about it. But they got there, they're in the final again, and they've got a really good opportunity to put this "I'm coming home" to bed.
Okay, Mark, you've given us a bit of an indication which is the team that you could be picking going forward in the final. But then I'm going to try once again. If I had to pin you down, ask you to pick your favorite to win this particular title, who are you going with, Spain or England?
Do you know what? I look at tournaments and I look at teams, and Spain have been absolutely scintillating. They haven't yet had a bad game, if you like. Whereas England have struggled. They've been behind on most occasions and got back into the game, whether it's in the 90th minute, the 95th minute, whatever it is. At some point, Spain are going to play badly and England are going to play well. I look at both sets of teams and squads, and I think they're both matched in terms of quality that they have. So I think it's in England's hands. They've had the experience of being in the last final and losing. They've had the experience of being in a World Cup final, semi-final, and losing. So maybe this is third or fourth time lucky for Gareth Southgate and the players.
All right, that's really interesting, Mark, that you've given England that slight edge. I was also looking at the bookmakers' odds, and even they have given England that marginal edge compared to Spain in the final. That to me is rather surprising, because if you read the media, you listen to most of the experts, everyone thinks that Spain have the edge going into this particular final. What are the reasons you reckon that England are now being given the edge by the bookmakers too?
I mean, I'm probably going to be more biased towards England, but I feel that England's squad is better than the Spanish, albeit the Spanish have got really good players who are playing well. You've got the likes of Rodri, Fabian Ruiz, obviously Nico Williams and Yamal. They've got them players. Now, they've all played really well and come to the party, haven't they? Obviously, Yamal in the last game with that amazing goal that he scored. But England also have world-class quality players who have struggled. They've laboured through games and they've looked leggy, they've looked tired, they've looked misshapen on times in terms of the way the system is. I think you've got to give Southgate some credit in terms of he's changed the system from a back four to a back three. He's obviously seen what's happened and it wasn't working. So if it's not working, you fix it. And they've looked a lot better in the last couple of games, albeit they still struggled. But I feel if England put it together in this 90 minutes or 120 minutes, whatever it will be, I think they've got too much for the Spanish team, and especially the Spain team, which defensively I'm not convinced with. The central partnerships within the middle there, whether it's Lenormand and Laporte, or you've got Nacho in there. I think you could get at them, and whoever Gareth Southgate plays up front, whether it's Harry Kane or whether it's Ollie Watkins or whether it's Ivan Toney, I think they'll have too much for the Spanish defence.
Mark, let's take a look at the road to final for both teams. Very contrasting at that. Many would argue that Spain have the edge because they've beaten the tougher teams. They've beaten the likes of Germany. They have beaten France in the semi-final. England, on the other hand, haven't really been tested. Had an easier draw. Come the final, the team that has gone through a tougher draw, has experience beating tougher teams, will have the edge. Would you agree with that argument?
Well, I'm going to give you a different argument. You know, Spain have played Georgia in the round of 16. They're ranked 46th in the world football. England played Slovakia, who were ranked 28th. Spain went through in the quarterfinals, obviously, and then they played France, who are ranked 5th, and England played the Netherlands, who are ranked 6th. So to say that England haven't come up against opposition of quality is wrong for me. And okay, we look at France, and France were so bad, it's beyond being French, isn't it? You know, their tournament was awful. And I think Spain played Germany in the second in the quarter final or whatever it was, and they won after extra time. So they haven't been as, you know, as emphatic as what you would suggest in terms of they played all the big teams. They haven't, you know, and England haven't also. But, you know, we talk about Switzerland. Now, Switzerland are a very, very good team. You know, they're ranked 12, so they're no mugs in terms of England haven't played Albania every game and gotten through. They've got through against some, and let's not, you know, the likes of Georgia and Slovakia and Slovenia and Albania, all of them have done ever so well in this tournament, and they've made giant strides, and they have players in their 11 that are playing in the top leagues and doing really, really well in the top leagues. So let's not get sidelined by Germany, Spain, France, Belgium, all the rest of it. You know, England have come through, and they've come through however way they have. It hasn't been sparkling. Spain has. It's been sparkling, hasn't it, in the way they've played. It's been a breath of fresh air. But as I say, I like stats, and you can't play well every game. And they do have youngsters in the team. Yamal, albeit he plays for Barcelona and he's, you know, he's in the big time, but this is the Euro final, you know, and Nico Williams, this is the Euro final. They haven't got any experience in this sphere, whereas a lot of the English players do. And experience counts for an awful lot. And that's just the way I see it. I see it that, you know, England have laboured through. They've got to play well. If they play well, they win the game as far as I'm concerned.
Okay, let's Mark, look at the English squad, you know, carefully. What could be their starting lineup? And there have been question marks over, you know, how Kane has been performing so far in the tournament. Really not been at the top level that he's known to be. In that case, you've got an Oli Watson who's come out and got that winning goal for them in the previous game. Are you going with Watkins to start? It's a big call that Gareth Southgate will have to take. Does he take that call or no? You have to go with Harry Kane even now.
Well, having said all of that, he made the right decision, Southgate, by bringing him on at the death. So whether he brought him on in the 60th minute or he brought him on whenever he did in the 80th minute, he's made the right decision. You know, it's not for us to question when we should bring anybody on. Now, I'm not a great lover of Harry Kane. I'm not his best. I'm probably a critic of him in terms of I watch him every week in the Bundesliga. I see him week in, week out. And I think he's laboured from maybe January onwards when they had their winter break. He's come back and he hasn't been the same player. He never scored the same amount of goals in the ratio that he was scoring pre the winter break. And I just think this is a tournament too far for him. Again, he's been underwhelming. He scored a penalty or whatever it is, and he scored one from open play or whatever it is. It's not been a great tournament for him, but he is the captain. He's the leader. They have a system in which to play to, and he's going to be the fulcrum of that, or the focal point of that. And he's got to play tonight, on Sunday, sorry. He's got to play because you can't make too many changes. He's already, in his mind, in Southgate's mind, he's already changed the system. He's already brought Mainu in instead of his original players that he was playing in terms of Trent Arnold, and then it was Gallagher. So he's made a lot of changes in his head, and I think he's a very conservative coach. He probably is too loyal to players, and maybe Harry Kane could be one of them. But at the end of the day, these players have got him to where he's got them, which is the final of the Euros 2024. So I think he'll start. And yeah, it all depends. If it's 0-0, if you're 1-0 down, like we have been on many occasions, then it's easy to make substitutions and say, get Harry Kane off, get the front three off, which he did do. And he brought a whole new front three on. So a lot of it depends on the game itself and how it's going. You know, if England are dominating and they just can't, you know, put the ball in the back of the net, eventually one of them will go in the back of the net. Or if it's the opposite way, where Spain are dominating, creating chance after chance, it's not the forwards that we'll be looking at changing. It would be the midfield and the defenders as well. So it all depends on the nature of the game and how it pans out. But yes, I mean, this has been a long season for all the players in the Euros. They've all played for the league teams in whatever division they play in whatever league, in whatever country. And these are games, these are like the 60th, 65th game that they're playing, some of them. And they look tired. A lot of the players look jaded. Bellingham being another one who looks jaded. You know, he started like a house on fire for Real Madrid. Now he looks jaded, he looks tired, he needs a break. So yeah, a lot of it depends, as I said, on the nature of the game. And if they go down, you know, even if England are 2-0 up, you can take Harry Kane off and bring on a midfielder and just hold the fort, if you like. So a lot depends on that. And I just feel England have that experience. Southgate has the experience, more so than De La Fuente. He has the experience, and that counts for an awful lot.
All right, Mark, we'll leave it at that. Nicely set up for that big final that is going to feature Spain and England. And our continuous coverage continues over the weekend as we build up for the Euro final.